Hello, welcome to Đồng Nai Radio and Television Station. Here comes the news today. With a central location in the southern key economic region, up to now, Đồng Nai has attracted more than 1,500 FDI projects of FDI into industrial zones. Recently, the situation of COVID-19 pandemic was complicated, causing significant impacts on enterprises, but Đồng Nai was still preferred by many FDI investors. Although facing many difficulties due to the pandemic, in the first 7 months of 2020, Đồng Nai province still attracts over 743 million USD of foreign direct investment capital, of which disbursement capital is over 75%. That shows that investors still trust Đồng Nai to be the place to hand over their capital. As the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, I have many relationships with investors who are invested in Đồng Nai province. We know that some French companies want to bring their production lines to Vietnam. There are also other investors from China, the US, and Europe. During such a pandemic period, the disbursements still reach approximately the same period in 2019. This shows that businesses still have confidence in restoring the market. As of July the 31st, 2020, there are 2,060 projects in Đồng Nai province with a total investment capital of 36.46 billion USD, of which the number of valid projects is 1,520 projects with a total capital nearly 31 billion USD. FDI projects of investors come from 44 countries and territories, led by Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. At present, the competition to attract FDI is taking place increasingly fierce, but the good thing is that Vietnam, as well as Đồng Nai province, is recognized as an attractive safe land in the eyes of investors. The Government Office of Vietnam recently issued Notice number 313 on the conclusion of Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc at the standing meeting of the government on COVID-19 prevention on August the 27th. Notably, the Prime Minister asked localities to arrange isolation facilities to meet the requirements of the immigrants, regardless of foreigners and Vietnamese, agreed to extend the quarantine at the fee-for-charge accommodation. The Prime Minister also assigned the Ministry of Public Security, local authorities, especially the health sector, to closely monitor the isolation at accommodation establishments to ensure pandemic prevention requirements. The Prime Minister assigned the Ministry of Finance to assume the prime responsibility for and coordinate with the Ministry of Health in urgently instructing from September the 1st, 2020 to collect fees for all entry into Vietnam in isolated places. The Ministry of Planning and Investment shall assume the prime responsibility for and coordinate with the Ministry of Labor, War Invalids and Social Affairs and the Ministry of Finance in studying and proposing a Phase 2 social security package to ensure smooth and favorable conditions. Local authorities take the initiative in necessary support measures for businesses, the poor and beneficiaries of social assistance affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. French President Emmanuel Macron is visiting the Lebanese capital for the second time since a massive explosion at the capital's port earlier this month and revealed persistent call for political change. Hours before Macron arrived in Lebanon, political parties in the country reached an agreement to bring diplomat Mustafa Adjeb, now the ambassador of Lebanon to Germany, as Prime Minister of Lebanon. Mr. Macron is seen as playing an important intermediary role in reaching this deal. Speaking as soon as he set foot in Lebanon, Mr. Macron stated that his mission was to ensure that the government that is formed will implement the necessary reforms. Personally, I pledge that if the reforms are implemented as quickly as possible by the action of the Lebanese government, the international community, led by France, will support the country and the people of Lebanon, he said. On August the 31st, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced that he had invited a delegation of the United Arab Emirates (UAE) to visit Israel. Thanking the UAE for welcoming the Israeli delegation led by the National Security Advisor May Ben Shabbat, Netanyahu announced that a delegation from the UAE had been invited to visit Israel. The official is now leading a group of senior Israeli officials visiting Abu Dhabi to finalize an agreement that marks the beginning of relations between Israel and the Gulf nation. Speaking at the press conference, Mr. Netanyahu stated, "We will welcome them on the red carpet, the way they have welcomed us." On the same day, the Israeli Foreign Ministry said that the country and the UAE were negotiating to set up embassies in each country. That's all for the news today. Thank you for joining us and goodbye.